Last time on Brian Plays. Alright, well, Death bit the dust, and that was so nice I had to show you twice. So we're gonna begin part 3 of Castlevania 64. We went through all the towers, and now we're up to the clock tower. This is the last part of the game, and traditionally the clock tower is really the part of the game in any Castlevania series that hints that you're at the end and you're gonna face Dracula. This is only a couple of years after the infamous clock tower in Super Mario 64. So the 64 like to do clock tower levels. You just have to have your wits. As long as you don't get any vertigo with the camera, you'll be fine. Remember, the worst enemy in this game, as we spoke about in the last video, is the camera. This area doesn't have too many enemies as well. I think the developers just wanted to create scale, because there's a lot of times where Reinhardt looks like an ant when he's climbing up. I guess they wanted to make the towers massive. Now, if you fall here, it's an automatic death. And you can get hit while you're jumping too, so you have to be really careful. Pick up the key, you can proceed. These bone dragons can be pesky. And this is the final large area in the game. Now there is a Renon's contract. It's the final one in the game, so you can stock up on goodies before you confront Dracula. Now, remember I told you there were certain stipulations in the game that when met, it will dictate what happens towards the end. And one of them was spending 30,000 gold. And in this gameplay, we'll get to the 30,000 threshold and buy out Renon. And if you see here, if you overjump something, you can fall. It's almost like an obstacle course from the show Wipeout, where those contestants went flying into the water and the big red balls and all that. Now you don't have to get anything else once you get the clock tower key. But there is a nice torch up ahead where you can get a lot of gold. And there's the contract. And here is where all the gold is. I thought it was a torch. So, in this game, we'll buy everything out. Now, I might have said in an earlier video that spending $30,000 would prevent you from getting the best ending. That's not true. Only one thing will change, but you can still get the best ending. Healing kits are very important. They can refill all your health. Alright, so that's over 30,000 gold spent. So, buddy Renon. I remember it was a special contract you signed. Remember, folks, always read the fine print before accepting. But of course, we couldn't read demon language. So, if you spend over 30,000, you will have to fight Renon. But I think it's a cool fight to witness. If you did honor the contract, he would just go away. He's not much difficult than Death was. If not easier. We continue onward now. And this is very reminiscent of the stairwell leading to Dracula in the earlier games. Now, if we let 16 in-game days go by, or used, I believe it's 4 Sun and Moon cards, we would have to fight Charlie Vincent as well. And this is a nifty little spot to get a little more ammo. and a healing kit. But in this gameplay, we definitely didn't let 16 days go by. So that ensures us the best ending. Remember, it's always useful to check perimeters if you have the footing to go around. Pretty much when that coffin shakes violently, you know that Dracula isn't sleeping anymore. Sounds like the killer Santa Claus from an 80s B horror film. Great music for this part too. You really know something's about to go down. Now, it's easy to panic now and just start running around in a circle. You just want to make sure the camera is always facing him when he appears. Look for that mist. Now, he has a lot of attacks. He can spit fire. Right, it's hard to tell, but he's sucking you in with the wind. When he's available, just whip him in the head, though. Jump over the shockwave, but for the second one, you gotta crouch. See, if you let him get too close to you, he can change your status to a vampire. You just gotta be patient. The slide attack is great, too, to get away from him. Not to be used offensively. But just stand still like that. Now crouch down. You don't want to run around though. If you could whip him quickly when he appears, he might not get an attack off on you. If he starts using the fire projectiles and you can whip them, you can actually make food bonuses appear. But it's basically just learning his pattern. But you'd be surprised how much standing still helps in this battle. Except when he sucks you in though. That's the only thing you really have to worry about. My neighbor just turned on the light in the backyard, and it's like shining right in my face. Dracula pretty much goes out with a bang in this game. Yet another thing Castlevania wants to take from Metroid, it's having the place go down after the final boss. Just be patient though, there's no time. But I wouldn't stop to wait. I do believe the stairs could disintegrate behind you, I'm not sure though. What on earth could Malus be doing here? Yeah, the steps actually do sink away. So I take that don't worry, take your time advice. Oh, shucks. Didn't you think that was Dracula that we killed before? It was just a servant. Come on, you're not really shocked, are you? Of course Malus was the bad guy. As soon as I saw the name, you knew it. But this is Dracula, and this is the real deal now. This Dracula has many methods of attack. He'll engulf you in a wall of fire or freeze you with a cloud of frost. When that happens, you just gotta run. Otherwise, it's really gonna hurt you. He'll also use that shockwave attack that his servant did before. Gotta jump over the low wave and dive under the second one. constantly vanish though and reappear somewhere else. It's all about making friends with your camera buddy and trying to line up to find them. Now, if you didn't have any tertiary items, you could, well, you're basically going to have to charge him when you see him. But you could work this little method where you chuck the axes. And for ammo's sake, the axe might be better off than the cross. Because you're only using 2 at a time. Don't be shy to use your food too, because a lot of attacks really drain you down. All you gotta do is die, and then you have to do the whole thing over. Those little 3 balls of frost or flame, that's his most common attack. Reinhardt is still a softie. Rosa was right. He never learns. But you didn't waste your time playing. And because 16 days didn't pass, Charlie Vincent comes to your aid. This kid's worse than Damien from The Omen. This is the true final boss of Castlevania 64. Kind of looks like a silverfish to me. A mutated one. Get away from this guy as fast as you can. He'll take the ultimate amount of health away. As soon as your health goes down, you gotta replenish. And your best bet is to get behind him near his tail. And just start going off on him. Now this is epic fight, but it's a shame a lot of people never get this far because the game is so frustrating. If you know what you're doing, it's a cakewalk. If you don't, it could be a long, drawn-out fight. But basically, just enjoy the scene. This game milks it for all it's worth, too. Dracula's death cry was longer than the fight itself. With Dracula gone, his castle crumbles to go back down into the earth. It's not quite the destruction of Ganon's castle, but it'll do. Remember the rose petals? Who did you meet when you saw rose petals for the first time? Rosa. Okay, now she's no longer a vampire. might not be Simon or Richter, but he's still a cool protagonist. Congratulations, that's the end of Castlevania 64. So, what happens if you don't get the good ending? Well, after you beat the Servant, and then Malus is Dracula, and you beat him, just when Reinhardt reaches out to grab Malus, Charlie Vincent, you would have already attacked him, so he wouldn't have interfered. So you would think Malus is cured and back to normal. So I believe you see a cutscene at the end where you're maybe you're in a horse-drawn carriage or something, and I don't remember it too much, but you acknowledge that there's peace for now, but Dracula will always return, and then you even suggest that perhaps Malus, the young boy, will become the next vampire hunter, like him. And when he's not looking, you see Malus look up, and his eyes are red and possessed, so you know that he's Dracula. It's kind of a creepy ending. It's not your Hollywood happy ending, but it's not the real ending, because you don't get to face the true grotesque form of Dracula. So that was it. And the two special crystals that you got during the game, one is a new costume for Reinhardt, and it's the costume that Simon Belmont wore in the original Castlevania. I believe it's the one that you see in Castlevania 4. It's easier to see than the little sprite from the original game. And the other special crystal actually unlocks hard mode. If you ever want to go back and do the game on hard mode, good luck. And I believe the only difference is that the enemies are faster and they're a little tougher to kill. But, you know, this game gets a lot of flack. And, you know, I can understand with the camera. And there's a lot of flaws, especially with the transitioning into 3D. But a lot of people don't get past the castle center level, and it's a shame. They miss out on the towers at the end, and they do miss out on the cinematic parts of the game. I mean, this game is very atmospheric, and the music is underrated because everyone remembers the older games, which were better. So, you know, try this game out one day, and thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this gameplay of Castlevania 64. One day I will showcase Carrie's gameplay. Carrie makes the game a lot easier with her projectiles. She has a couple of different levels, 3 of them. And, you know, using her, it makes me feel like I'm playing an anime game rather than a Castlevania game. And I know there's a lot of anime now within the Castlevania franchise, but it just feels like a different game when your main guy isn't wielding a whip. Anyway, thanks for watching. Tune in another night for another episode of Brian Plays.